Today I'm going to show you how we did this, and also this, all while going through the process of making Everything Will Kill You Rue.
That boomer was going to open you up from ear hole to asshole.
The only boomer I'm worried about is the one with a gun. I seen inside today, don't fuck with me!
I love films with practical effects. The Thing, The Blob, Aliens. Practical effects are what I think make films magical.
I always love practical effects, and there's so much more I want to do with it. And often as filmmakers, we feel like we need to go digital these days because every Hollywood movie is trying to do visual effects and special effects that we forget. Most of the movies we loved as kids are all just gore and ridiculous puppets that look silly, but they're in the world, so you believe it.
I wanted to make a film that had some guts and some blood, which is really all you need for a horror film.
I'm Ronnie Bowden, a parent of Bean Bowden, and what I do is, I guess, make a lot of things.
So my mum and I were doing a lot of the prop stuff, mostly focused on the Rue itself, as well as some of the practical effects through the film.
There are a number of different blood recipes that do different things depending on what you want. Detergent-based ones are really good. If you get a nice thick detergent one, it runs really well, but you can't have that anywhere near the face. Problems that you have to solve is it going to stain your clothes? Is it going to stain the skin? Is it going to hurt your eyes if it's anywhere near your face, which we did have to problem solve with the one that we did.
We are launching some blood to make sure it looks good on this camera, because we've never used this blood, we've never used this camera, and we just want to make sure it's going to work before we splash it on our actor's face at high velocity. Or medium velocity. I think that's pretty good. Are you happy with how that looks?
The effect actually went really well.
Having the blood shoot out of the compression was the best part to not only see happen, but also workshop getting to work.
I think it's just exactly what it needed to be. Just that little splatter across the face was chef's kiss.
Cut. I think the thing is with filmmaking, let alone working with practical effects, is that you have an idea in your head on how they're going to work. Sadly, I think the only thing that didn't really work was what I'd hoped, which was basically creating forced perspective kangaroo paws on screen whilst the camera was working and having that in camera as opposed to like green screening them or bringing in digital assets.
We had to problem solve
camera rolling.
How exactly we were going to get movements with the kangaroo paws. Because there's a distance, because they work good in shadow, out of focus, or at a distance, but like if you focus on them, they're not great. I'm not at that level just yet.
So the trickiest challenge we had with the hands is the fact that we were shooting on the Ronin 4D. The thing I didn't even consider was the head moves. So no matter where you put the hands, they don't stay within the frame. So that was the really tricky thing we discovered while making the film.
They were a bit difficult to use on set. The way that we wanted to attach them to the camera didn't quite work.
So I was trying to get continuous takes that worked when it was changing every time. So if I were to do that scene again, I probably wouldn't use the Ronin 4D for that particular shot. I'd actually probably use a normal camera on a gimbal and rig it that way. Because the camera head's so small on the 4D, it's just there was nowhere to attach it. So fight against the light disappearing, fighting against the hands not doing what we wanted, trying to run up a hill with an actress and making sure that they're being safe. There was just a lot of complications in this shot, which I think we still achieved it, but it maybe didn't land exactly how we were probably hoping. But next time, once again, you get the right camera for the job and the right effect, the right joins and all that sort of stuff, and you can solve that problem. And this is the whole thing with filmmaking. You try stuff, sometimes it stuffs up, but at least you know next time for a bigger project. That's why short films are so important.
The most challenging part was probably trying to get the Rue functional while looking semi-realistic for the different shots needed. We built off of a base of 3D printed paws and big feet, and we also had a head that we painted and decorated with foam clay and real kangaroo fur to make it look realistic.
Yeah, the kangaroo head and feet were good. They were on little bits of wire and we were like doing little can-can dances with them and stuff, but then they were just hovering behind the camera, bits of wire and jury rigged with tape and everything like that. I had a lot of fun working with those and making them.
I think using the fur really worked because it's such a specific texture, and probably we could have worked out a better way of holding the front paws because you needed 4 hands to be able to work out what was going on.
I learned a lot and I apologise profusely to my husband for filling his hair clippers full of kangaroo fur because there was a lot of sculpting that had to take place.
Rolling.
Yeah, cool.
Alright, 2A2, scene 6, shot 14, take 2, as effect shot.
Clear. And action. The disembowelment was effectively like a very thin bag or sack which was attached to Tali's stomach, which was then cut open and let to fall out.
So the disembowelment was really fun.
Oh, wow.
My hands laughter as you're cold or you're delirious? What's going on?
Yes.
Full credit to Tali, who had to wear like a ripped shirt on a freezing cold night and then hold basically like wet innards in a bag and then let them go and have to stand around on standby for ages while we had the camera getting set up. Must have been freezing.
It's so cold. I am so sorry.
And she was laughing. It was freezing cold. It was covered in soap. It was slippery, like the detergent in the blood had made our hands really slippery. We couldn't get the sticky tape on.
I'm so sorry. I have to take it out again.
Just really funny.
The Bond probably going to form after this. You guys are going to know me inside and out. That's a good joke.
So having to set up the gut shot was a lot, once again, lots of trial and error. Our initial plan was that it would be hidden in the shirt and then the actor would be able to tear open the plastic sack, but it ended up being way too big for the shirt that she was wearing, and through camera trickery we had to do it slightly off shot instead and dropping the pieces, and then for the steam pouring a just boiled kettle over the top to make it seem like the organs were hot on the cold night. It was so cold.
The gutting effect is absolutely spectacular. I think that is one of the funnest killings we've had in one of these films. It's so much and so unnecessary, and I kind of just love it for that.
The intestines were made from a silicone molding based off of actual organs that were sourced from like a butcher.
So the organs were a lot of trial and error. We tried to do latex molds and we tried to do latex casting and silicone casting, but what we ended up doing for the intestines was using their sausage casings, but we dyed them and then filled them with a slightly coloured jelly to give the movement and shape. And for the liver, we used a sheep liver that we cast in plaster, and then we made a semi-solid jelly so that it would be chunky as it fell out.
The liver was problematic. I would really like to get hold of some different materials to work with. I've actually got the mould that we made here. I went to the butcher and said, excuse me, but can I have your liver? Made a mould out of it and then tried to put various things in there. The gelatin, even though I made it up like 5 or 6 times thicker than what you would have edible jelly so that it would kind of stay intact, it demolded all right, but then as soon as we put it in the bag trying to get a active disembowelment thing, it kind of just fell apart all over the floor. So we went, I guess we have chunks now.
My goodness, they looked amazing. They really read on screen.
I'd love to do that again. That was really good.
Thanks so much for watching this behind the scenes on Everything Will Kill You Group. If you haven't already watched the film, you've spoiled yourself terribly and you should go and watch that first. But that's on you, that's not on me. I don't control your viewing habits. But if you liked this and the content we're producing, you can keep following us on all of the social media to keep up to date with what we're doing, when we're doing it, and when we're rolling it out here on YouTube. Please check out the description below or the links on the page, and we'll talk to you soon.